Good morning. I thought I talked about being a nerdy rock collector in another video, and I thought I'd show you just how big my problem is. I've been trying to cull my rock collection, and I was in touch with a gentleman from the Mineral Club, and he came by and bought a couple pieces. This is one of my favorites here. It's peacock ore, also called chalcopyrite. And the yellowish greenish, that's calcite growing on top, and this is one of my favorite pieces. Probably not something I would sell or give up, but I have like 8 cartons full of other stuff. These are all Maine tourmalines, Maine collected stones that I've collected at the sort and sift places out in Paris. And you can see, like this one for instance has a lot of green tourmaline, so it's not a gem. I mean, it's tourmaline, but it's not of gem jewelry quality. I do have a couple of small pieces like that, and I'm not getting rid of those. But, I'm knocking over, this is a little vial from a gold panning expedition we went on in Byron, and you can get these little vials and fill them with water and then put some electrical tape in the back because that shows up the gold better. And there's not a lot of gold in Maine. It's all, you know, very sandy and fine. New Hampshire and Vermont, you can get more there, and I'll do that eventually, but probably not till next season because it's getting late in the season. But you can get electrical tape. I got some at Lowe's for 75 cents, so if I do happen to go out on my own, I have a gold panning kit, so I can stop at any stream and, you know, look for some gold. And it's really more of a hobby. The rock collecting is more of a sickness. These are just my main pieces here. That's a giant piece of pink tourmaline, obviously not gem quality, but you can see how it grows in long rods like that, and that's a pretty good piece. I probably wouldn't be getting rid of that, but it's also very delicate, so like I picked it up once and that little piece there chipped right off, so you have to be careful. And this one is actually lepidolite, which is a lithium mineral that is found near tourmaline and other granite pegmatites, and you can see it has pink tourmaline growing in it, and you can't really chip it out and make gems out of it. It's a great specimen. This is a gray lepidolite, just with mica. This is from Oxford County. I got it at the old rock shop in Winthrop, which was run by a lady named Priscilla, who is hugely into, she was the first female tourmaline and expert in the 1920s. She started going to the mines and asking people if she could go look for tourmaline and learning, and by the time she passed away, she had an extensive collection. We were lucky enough to get down to Winthrop and meet her in person just before she retired to Florida. She was very tiny. She was on like a oxygen and using a little wheeled walker, but she was very lively, and she practically gave me some valuable specimens. You know, one of them was this. That's a piece of blue tourmaline, and some cat hair on the edge. I can't help it. I have a cat. It's everywhere, even though I vacuum. And that's glued to a card, so I won't lose it. And it's important to keep labels with everything. Like this one has a label with it, etc. And some of these don't have individual labels because I know I got them all at Western Maine Mineral Adventures. And you fill up a bucket with what they call mine dumps left over from blasting, and then they have a table where you can sift them with 2 layers of sifters, one for bigger and one for finer, and then you rinse them in a big tub of water and tip them out, and you just look for color. And it's really, really fun to take the kids and go through, and you get the shiny stuff and the there's something with green on it. You go, ooh, you know, and there's black tourmalines and things with mica. And I don't know many kids that don't like collecting rocks. My kids used to bring in rocks from my garden, from under the bushes, the landscaping rocks. Look, Mom, I got some rocks. And what are you going to do? You say, oh, cool. And these are some of my nicer pieces that aren't necessarily from Maine. This one's really cool. And it's what they call a pocket piece. And you can see it's got little crystals everywhere. And you don't want to smash it up and break it. But when I found it, it was just kind of covered with sand that rubs off. So I could bring it home, and I soaked it and scrubbed it with a brush. And this is what was left. And it's all sides of it has tourmaline and little crystals. And that's something I'm not going to get rid of. But a lot of these other things, I either have to consider giving them away or selling them, because the local people, a lot of them don't want this stuff because they can go get it all day long, same as I do. And they go on free outings to the actual mines and pick through the mine dumps there, because they're blasting through a hillside that's granite. And they blast straight down and kind of shave off a side of it and hope to find a pocket with the actual gems in it. And when they run into this kind of material, they know they're close. So, and I have a bunch of other stuff. Like, I have tons of quartz, you know, quartz crystals. I have, you know, things like pyrite, fool's gold they call it, which is really a form of an iron ore. And some things I'm not quite sure. I know this is a form of quartz here. But see all the little crystals in there? I don't know what that is or where it's from. I have labels that got misplaced, and that's my bad. This one here, I forget what it's called, but it's a form of copper ore. It's probably from Arizona, from near a copper mine. Somebody probably picked it up. And this is another type of quartz with another mineral growing. And there's so many minerals. If you lose the labels, like I've misplaced them, I have them. I just don't know which one is which. You know, it could be dolomite, it could be whatever. I don't know. I'd have to. So that's my bad. But this is labradorite, and you can see it flashes blue. Labradorite is usually from Canada, and that's where the name comes from, Labrador. And it's just a beautiful. It's what they call a feldspar. If you've ever seen something like rainbow moonstone with all the layers and the kind of flashy blue. That's also a feldspar, and they mined feldspar, the plain stuff, for clay. But this is a different type of it. And I have books, and I look things up on the internet. I'm not a geologist. I just like to collect. So, and this is a piece of amber, and I was learning wire wrapping, and I wire wrapped it, and then I crocheted a little hanger out of embroidery floss that I had picked up at a yard sale. I like to pick up things like knitting needles, old cookbooks, that kind of stuff, because knitting needles and things are expensive if you get the good ones. And I'm not an expert knitter, but in the winter I like to have a go at stuff. My grandmother could knit socks in one night, but not me. And there's another. This one here is pretty rare. This is actually, these are pink rose quartz crystals. I don't know if you can see the crystallization. And normally you're going to see it in its massive form, which basically means in a lump, squished, kind of like this rock here. This is a rock that has some pink tourmaline growing on it. But again, you know, you can't make a gem out of this. It's a specimen. This one is Litchfieldite, which is a grouping of 3 minerals. It's very rare. It's from Litchfield, Maine. That's why it was named Litchfieldite. This is one I got from Priscilla for like $6. And I think there's another similar one they discovered in Brazil. So, but it's the combination of these 3 minerals together. You can see the black and the yellow, and there's another one. And again, you know, I don't have all this stuff memorized, but I can look it up and refresh my memory. And this is quartz with hematite growing in it, which is iron ore. A lot of you have probably seen hematite when it's polished and it looks black, but if you chop a piece of that in half and rub it on an unglazed tile or something, it will smear red like rust. So, and these other things are things I've collected, like river rocks and things like that. And those are my buttons. I like antique buttons. They're cool. These, I took a trip to Rye Beach with my son to show him the beautiful Rye Beach State Park, and we collected these rocks. So I made sure I keep these separate because these are sort of sentimental to me with my son. And this is what they call a coconut geode from Mexico, I think. Yes, I had one right. Yay! And there's a postcard I got in England. It was a postcard of a sculpture this gentleman did, and I just really love the blue, and I think it's a freaky Egyptian cat style thing. So it was in a box with some of my stuff, and I just laid it here so I wouldn't misplace it again. And that's about it for my rocks. I have a lot more. I have more in drawers, and I have to go through and really decide the nice pieces that I want to keep, because that's my writing desk right there. And I had thought the gentleman that came down would pick up a bunch of this stuff. And he went, well, you know, because he said he wanted stuff from Maine, but, you know, I have other opportunities to get rid of it, because there's a local mineral club that I can take it to. But I should keep my nicer pieces on the windowsill, because I told him, I said, I'm not selling the stuff on the windowsill. And he understood. He was very, very nice, very helpful, gave me a lot of information. He showed me this, I have some more egg cartons here full of stuff that I do not want to part with at this time. But this one here, this is a piece of obsidian known as Apache tear. And I thought it was just black obsidian. And he said, no, hold it up to the light. And I did. And you probably can't see it here. I'd have to hold a flashlight up to it. But you can see through it. And it's kind of clearish. It resembles a smoky quartz. But I should have brought my light over here, sorry. Next time. Yeah, sure, I know about lighting. Not. Anyway, that thing is a volcanic rock, and it's called obsidian, specifically the Apache tear type, and he thought that was very unique because they're usually not that large. And he wanted to buy it, but I was like, I would think about it. So, and I showed it to one of the little kids that came over here, one of my neighbor's grandkids, and he was like, I want the volcano rock, I want the volcano rock. And I had to tell him no. I gave him I gave him and his sister a bunch of these. These are all, you know, little pieces of tourmaline and Maine quartzes and things. You can see the green in there and stuff. But I gave him a little box full of those, and they were happy with that. But, you know, it's hard when you're collecting things and you've collected them a long time. So people have given you as gifts. You know, my other favorite is this. This is a fluorite that Rob gave me for, I don't know, my birthday once. And it glows purple. At night, you can really see the glow. And, you know, we paid quite a bit of money for that several years ago for my birthday, so I'm not going to get rid of that because it's unique. It's from Illinois. You're getting less and less fluorite from Illinois. A lot of it comes from China. And, you know, when the light is off, it really looks more black, and when it's on at night, it just glows purple through quite a bit of it. It's really cool. Anyway, that's some of my rock collection. And I know I promised one of my friends from Illinois to send her some tourmalines, and maybe I should put them in a padded envelope and send her some, get rid of them. But I would like to sell some of them off so I can. That's a cat playing with her mouse. I bought a mouse. This thing. It's a real, it makes real nice noises. So she likes to play with it. You want to play with it? Here. She's goofy. Anyway, so that's it about the rocks. And I'll do something else with the kitchen tip later after I have my tea. So take care.